Well, I just figured to cover my bases,
Yep.
so.
Well, I asked the police chief to chat with all the various people who applied, look at their numbers, and just chat with them and assess their qualifications. I met with him and had a conversation, and I'd like to make a motion for the committee consisting of the following people, all of whom I think have credentials that bring something to the committee. This would result in a qualified committee that's a bipartisan or multi-partisan committee. So the motion to appoint Chief Zeal because of his law enforcement background, Mr. Restivo because of his legal background and experience with contracts as a representative counsel, Brendan Marr because he's a licensed structural engineer with significant building experience, Gordon Brayton, who is a builder and supplier, Joe Walsh, who is a builder, electrician, and has experience in zoning. Tom Walden, who has experience in emergency management, public safety, and he is versed in foster communication systems, the radios, the towers, etc. And Mr. Anthony Renzi, who as a businessman has experience and has built numerous buildings for his own personal businesses. So I would make that as a motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, it's like a preordained list to me. I believe there's a couple on here, and some you mentioned where I thought were good. One I thought was probably stellar among all of them was David Terrell. As a 16-year veteran of the Cranston Police Department who just went through a new police station, realizing how through the planning and what mistakes were made, I think he would have been a valuable asset as a police officer and going through a new building and being a licensed electrician. I think he was valuable also. I don't really like how we have a preordained list already, so I knew this was gonna happen and I knew it was gonna go down this way, but I'm just the one guy at the end of the table as usual.
I made the motion, I looked through these, I think they're all qualified. I think
Yeah.
Mr. Terrell is qualified, I think there are people that didn't get
And I'm also-
nominated or qualified. Mr. May is qualified, he has public building experience, Jed Dixon is qualified, Michael Dillon, all these people
I
have
didn't say
building
they weren't,
experience.
and then, for example, on the council level, somebody who works construction every single day, 60 to 80 hours a week, I think it would be valuable to have my knowledge on the committee, but I haven't found anybody that would disagree with me on that one either. So, but again, I guess it's gonna be the way it's gonna be, and we'll just move forward.
Further discussion?
I can't say I have an objection to Mr. Mosquito, but I did submit my name, and I do understand your reasoning, but I also would like to point out that we have a solicitor that would be reviewing, so we have two lawyers reviewing. If that's the reason why I have Mr. Restivo on, is because of his capacity as a lawyer, we do have a solicitor.
Mr. Lewis,
Yes, sir.
let me speak to Brendan Marr, a civil engineer, and a person who volunteered all his time down to rebuild the school when it collapsed. So there's one that nobody should have an objection with. Well, you're not going to do better than a civil engineer that builds civic buildings.
I think the background up on that, working with him with that problem with the school, he worked with O'Day Construction, didn't he? Engineer?
Right.
Yeah, fantastic, excellent, knowledgeable to no end, so I have absolutely no reservations on him at all. I think it's a fantastic choice.
I think that just having the police chief on there is sufficient as far as having another policeman on there. I think that the chief is capable of getting that information from different police facilities and from his own man working with him. I also think John Restivo brings with it his background in contracts and negotiations and things like that. That will be strong and beneficial. I too would have put my name on there. I also have been on committees before But I felt that when I heard John was on there, I was pleased with that appointment. As far as everyone else goes, I go by their judgment. The chief vetted them and talked to them, I believe, and I go by his recommendations.
I'd like to add that when we talk about two police officers being police chief, the reason why I was thinking of David is a taxpayer in the town, and this is no offense to the chief. David is a taxpayer in the town, has children in this town, has lived in this town, is a police officer, and it's not his building being built such it is as the police chief's has a vested interest in his building. It's an outside look from an outside officer who is also a taxpayer, who also understands being a police officer in a building, so it kind of balances itself out. Again, as somebody who's building a building, you're gonna want the best of your best. So my point with him is being the officer and being a taxpayer, also being objective. And I'm not saying that our chief isn't an objective, it just to me gives a little bit more credence to it.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but my thinking is that the police chief is the one that's in charge of this whole project and should be involved in it.
We all know how the vote was preordained and how it's gonna go, and we knew that, apparently I figured it out right away as soon as the motion was made, so
Well, I didn't
we
until I
can
got
move on
these.
with the dog and pony show and move on with the vote.
I'm not giving it, I don't do that, Gordon.
No.
I'm saying what I think, and I truly believe that the chief brings a lot to it because he is the chief of police and he should be involved. That's totally my opinion. And as far as the dog and pony or preordained, I didn't know anything about this until I got this stuff and then I was listening how they were vetted.
John, as for my part, since my name was raised, I welcome John Restivo. He's been very, very good with a lot of our projects, things over and above what I normally do, because not every lawyer does everything. And if he specializes daily in that type of building, I welcome him. That's huge.
And I'll say to myself, I offered to put my name in after discussing with the chief, and he thought that it would be useful to have someone with legal background on the board. I don't want to own this project. I don't want to be the council member that everyone points to and says, that's the person who decided what the town was going to do. Which is why I'm glad to see that I think the board does represent a broad spectrum of all the different points of view in the town. So I do think that a lot of different points of view.
I'll be attending all the meetings anyway and being quite vocal and public into the neighborhood of what's going on and how it's progressing, so.
And I will say that I intend to consider absolutely every option with an open mind, including the possibility of having a station that, in Situate is split with Situate, and I have talked with some.
And we may even record these meetings.
So I didn't make this motion precipitously. I went through everyone's qualifications and I tried to make a motion that included a group of people who together would support each other synergistically, that they all had important skills, but slightly different skills. They brought slightly different perspectives, builders and architects and EMS and legal background, so that we have a multi-flavored thing on Ms. Karen.
You're looking for 5 people, right?
Six plus the chief, so there's 7, it's an odd number.
Well, there's 5 people on the council, why doesn't each one of you pick one?
That's a good
We
idea.
did that a few years ago with the ad hoc personnel committee, and it didn't work well. It didn't function well
It
together.
worked as well as the council.
Mrs. Ryder?
I think your point about a group of people who don't have blatant personal agendas and will work together well is a very good point. What you don't need is someone disrupting the meetings all the time. And I think this group certainly works very well.
Any further discussion?
Yeah,
Chief, yes, sir.
I agree with the committee members, the ones that you
question to be on it. I have done field trips to small departments. I haven't gone through Cranston because again, Cranston is out of our, league in every category. I've recently went through West Greenwich, I went through Gloucester, numerous times over the years. I just took a field trip to Hopkinton. They built their police station in 2005, 2004 for $1 million. It's a little bit bigger police department. And, going back to the preliminary numbers, I know the police department that, will serve the town of Foster for years to come will not come close to the $4 million. The people that are on the list, including the ones that weren't, chosen or nominated, they would have all served some sort of capacity. But 7 were picked. I've seen building committees up to 10. Some of those are dysfunctional. Again, the people that are on it, including myself, we'll be looking, to our dispatchers, to our officers, to the other departments that are, like size, that we can compare to what works, what doesn't. Because again, they all went through their growing pains, but again, I'm not gonna go through big departments like Cranston. I did talk to Dave Terrell, and again, we can only limit so many, and again, I'm happy with the list that's nominated.
I agree, I think the list that's here is well-rounded. Actually, I have all but one mine is not in there, but that's okay. I'll take the other 4.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously.